Hello and welcome to another Royal Reviewer live pop-up chat. I hope you've all had a really amazing day. Let's just pick up my notes. It is Wednesday, the 8th of January 2020. Can you believe it? I can't believe it. Already the first week has gone of 2020. Time is flying by. And royal news does not stop for anybody. So we have a selection of stories to talk about. We're going to be talking about the continued rumours that Harry and Meghan are going to move to Canada. So we'll be talking about that in a little while. We're also going to be talking about some upcoming engagements that have been released for members of the royal family, and also just probably about half an hour ago, 40 minutes ago, there was sightings. Paparazzi have been out, and Meghan has been spotted leaving the National Theatre. So she has been truly back to work. Let's just take a look at the live chat screen and see who is with us live. I do believe notifications are just about going out. Hello to everyone who has made it live in the chat room. As always, any links which I share, I will copy and paste into the description. So if you're watching on catch up, not live, then you can follow along too. So let me just make sure this camera angle is right. I think need to be a little bit lower. Ooh, there we go. Is that better? Yeah, that's better. Right, let's leave it there for a moment. Hello to Maribel Ruse from Canada. Hello, we're going to be talking about Canada. So I think we should probably start with the rumours and stories circulating that Harry and Meghan could potentially be moving to Canada. So I spoke about this yesterday as well, because some of those rumours were beginning to circulate then too. Now we know, okay, let's just look at some facts first of all. So we know that Harry and Meghan have spent some time over the Christmas period in Canada. Some publications are saying they've spent the entire 6 weeks in Canada. We don't know that. It's entirely possible, but then again, it might not be. It could have just been 2 weeks, 3 weeks. We don't actually know. But we do know that they have spent time actually in Canada. And some people I've read in comments have been questioning whether or not Harry and Meghan have indeed been in Canada. Yes, they have. It was confirmed by the palace. Also, in those press photographs, members of their security detail team, the Royal Protection Officers, were actually spotted at the location they were said to be at. Like I say, Buckingham Palace did actually confirm they were there, and they did yesterday go to Canada House, which is in London, to thank the Canadian people for their hospitality and warmth during their stay. So, I don't know why anybody would be now saying that they didn't spend any time in Canada. Yes, they did. They were in Canada. We just don't know the entire length of time that they spent in Canada. Could have been the entire 6 weeks, could have been shorter, but it was most definitely over Christmas. Anyway, so upon their return, lots of speculation about whether or not they're going to move to Canada, renounce titles. I mean, it's all just completely far-fetched. It's like anybody. When you have a really good, relaxing holiday, you think, oh, wouldn't I love to stay there, live there permanently? But then you think back to reality. When reality sets in and you've still got to work over there, it's pretty much the same, similar, as where you could be at home. We know that Meghan has lived in Canada previously. We know that she has a good base there. We know that she has a really good friend set. We know that Harry and Meghan feel very at ease over in Canada. But I do not think that they will be renouncing any titles, leaving plans for their new Sussex Royal Foundation, which are still yet to be launched. That is to be said. But I don't think that they are going to be relocating whole offices to Canada, bearing in mind that the offices at Buckingham Palace are now jointly being funded by the Prince of Wales, Clarence House and the Queen Buckingham Palace. Eventually, they will be funded entirely by Buckingham Palace once Charles becomes king and monarch. Therefore, it seems very highly unlikely to me that they would relocate offices unless, of course, they were going to completely self-fund their own offices. We know that the Sussex Royal Foundation is likely to include lots of Commonwealth countries in its delivery of whatever it turns out to be going to deliver or expand into. I just don't think that they will relocate from the UK base to one other base in the Commonwealth. Some of these comments have come from Tom Bradby, who is the gentleman who they did the Africa documentary to. And he has been known to be a friend, I think, of William and Harry's for a long time, a trusted friend. I don't know why he made the comments that he made on breakfast television today. Possibly, potentially muddying the water, potentially quotes being taken slightly out of context. And I do have, in the article that I'm looking at about Meghan being at the National Theatre, I do have some quotes from him. Let me just see if I can find them directly, and then we'll see exactly what he was saying. Oh no, but for some reason I can't find them. Let me see. It is on YouTube though. You can go and find Tom's clip on YouTube. It said, but yeah, he basically said that in Harry and Meghan's friend circle, it's no big secret that they've been considering their options for the future, and then obviously that has been relayed in the press as they're going to have serious talks with the Queen, the Prince of Wales, so on and so on and so on. I mean, there is always constantly talks going on with senior members of the royal family about other members' work's direction. I think any talks that are going on will be about the direction of work, the Sussex Royal Foundation, rather than where they're going to be relocating. Then we have the small matter of the millions and millions of pounds that were spent on their Frogmore cottage, that was said was going to be their only home. I mean, there was a big deal made. I mean, Harry and Meghan didn't have to, through Buckingham Palace, or was it Kensington Palace at the time, they didn't have to make a point of saying that it was going to be their only home, but they did make a point of saying that would be their only home. I don't think that they are going to relocate to any other country. I think they will most definitely launch their Sussex Royal Foundation in 2020 and see how things go. It's not unusual for a royal to maybe purchase a holiday home. The Yorks have a holiday home. They could potentially buy a holiday home somewhere. Doesn't necessarily have to be Canada. Could be somewhere in Africa. But I don't think a complete relocation. It is maybe possible that they could be planning some kind of long-term project somewhere. We had in the latter part of last year, 2019, rumours that they could spend some 6 months, a couple of years, moving to Africa. Then that kind of died off when it was revealed it was in the very early stages of anything going on. So no, I think we need to be a little bit cautious about all of the rumours that are circulating. Again, I don't think Tom Bradby would say these things in terms of, like, he is trusted by William and Harry, so I don't think he would speak out of terms, but I don't think he said anything that you couldn't particularly almost guess, I suppose. So let's just go to the comment section and see what people are saying. Matilde says, all this speculation is nothing more than bonkers. Please let them be. Tom, you might have just closed yourself out of the in crowd. That was another, I mean, that's kind of what I've just said. Would he say anything that would put him out of William and Harry's trust? I think that would be a big risk, because he has managed to get some really good interviews in the past with William and Harry, and of course Harry and Meghan in the last documentary that he made about their African journey. So I don't think he would intentionally I don't think he would intentionally cut down bridges and ties with them. I think it's a lot of speculation and things being taken out of context. Like I say, if you've been on a really lovely holiday and you've really managed to relax, we all know what it's like. We come back home and we talk about, oh, wouldn't it be lovely to live there and have that all the time? But then reality hits and you always realise, well, actually, I've got to work over there. So it won't be exactly the same as being on a permanent holiday. Again, I don't think any renunciation of titles is there. And let's not forget, it's not the British people that Harry and Meghan are not getting on particularly well with at the moment. It's the press. So do I think that Harry and Meghan would turn their back on the British people, who I would say largely have been supportive of Harry and Meghan. The warmth and the cheers from the British people. It's not the British people that Harry and Meghan have the problem with, it's the press. So I don't think they would turn away from Britain just because entirely of the press. Yes, that is a problem, but I don't think that they would completely move away from lock, stock, and barrel, renounce titles, move away just like that. The only thing that I have thought about that potentially could, I don't know. I mean, this is my own speculation now. But there have been in the past members of the royal family, aristocracy. It's not been done for a huge number of years in recent history, but in the past, governor generals were actually members of the aristocracy or indeed the royal family. I don't think it's been that way since the 50s, but there's no hard and fast rule about it. I think there was talk in the 60s, early 70s about Prince Charles being made Governor General of Australia at some point, but he didn't want to do that. I mean, it's not without the realm of possibility that the Queen could appoint Harry to be Governor General of a different Commonwealth country, maybe Canada. I mean, I know the present incumbent of the Governor General role in Canada has only been in post for 2 years. So to make way for Harry, she would either have to graciously step aside, or Harry would have to wait, another 3 years until it's typically the end of her term. That's the only way I can necessarily see of, Harry and Meghan getting a really good extended time away, maybe in Canada or a different Commonwealth country. Vivian says, not true, they are not moving out, they are in the UK to stay, it's where their home is. I mean, I would agree, but I mean, let's not discount any extended periods of work. I mean, that's still, it's not out of the question, an extended period in Africa, an extended period in Canada, but there are so many different Commonwealth countries still to visit anyway, that I think there will be lots of different tours and things coming up. And of course, they will be launching their foundation, the Sussex Royal Foundation, coming this year. So I think they have a lot of work on their plate without a relocation going on. Right. I'm just kind of scoot up trying to see if there's any other comments. No. Right, so I am now going to read some upcoming engagements. So on Thursday, January the 16th, the Duke of Sussex, Prince Harry, is going to be hosting the Rugby League World Cup for 2021 draws. So this is when I do believe it's drawn who competes against who for the 2021 Rugby League World Cup. So that will be going on Thursday, January the 16th. Also, the Duke and Duchess of Cambridge will be travelling to Bedford on Wednesday, January the 15th, to visit projects which support the community and promote cohesion within one of the UK's most diverse cities. So that is an upcoming engagement for the Duke and Duchess of Cambridge. Now, I do want to share the link to the photographs of Meghan leaving the National Theatre. Again, you can choose to click on the link or not. I will, of course, post a link on the description for anybody watching on catch up. I'm not going to read the article because it does repeat a lot of all the rumours that have been circulating. So I would say pretty much kind of stay away from the content of the article, but all the photos are indeed there. So we see Meghan leaving the National Theatre for what looks to have been a private visit, and we know that Meghan is patron, and yeah, she looks. I mean, it's a long lens type photograph. Basically, she has been packed, and she's dressed in a blue shirt, long navy coat. I think it's saying the coat is by Massimo Dutti. It's a reasonable in terms of affordability for coat. I am sure that it will sell out, but there isn't really anything interesting. We don't know the actual purpose of the visit, other than it may be to have been discussing an upcoming project, or just to touch base after 6 weeks away. It could just be that she's there to touch base. But there we have it. Let's go back to the comments and see what people are saying. Ooh, let me see. Oh yes, it's Bradford. Did I say Bedford? Yes, the Duke and Duchess of Cambridge are going to Bradford, not Bedford. If I said Bedford, I stand corrected. It was Bradford. Hello to Laura Terry. Barbie says, when Harry and Meghan met, I was concerned that as an independent American woman that she might have problems adjusting to royal life with all its rules and protocols. Maybe she is navigating that. I don't think she's had any problem with the royal family rules and protocols, of which there is no book. There is no massive, great big rule book. I don't think she's had a problem adjusting to the work. I don't think she's had problem with that regard. I think the thing that she said in the Tom Bradby African Journey documentary, she did say that she underestimated the press. She underestimated the warnings that her friends gave her about the press, about how intense it would be, and how ruthless they are. And I think that's the area that's been the issue, not the work. I mean, I've said this for a very, very, very long time. I think she's been pretty much an oven-ready royal. She's got all the things that you need to be a successful royal. You know, she's got drive, she's got personality, she's got the ideas. She has taken to the royal work like a duck to water. But the thing that she has admitted herself that she underestimated was the press. And we know that Harry and Meghan are tackling that with the lawsuits which they have underway. And again, we don't know what the outcomes of those are going to be. We don't even know when these cases are going to come up in court. Like I said before, there has been talk that it might even stretch into 2021 before we get any kind of resolution with that. Live, Love and Laugh says, that's all they are using her to sell clothes, yet Catherine wears expensive clothes. No price is put on them. Oh, they are. If you check the Daily Mail, the cost of the clothes are put on them. Believe me, go check. Go and do a back search of the engagements that she attends. The prices are most definitely put on the clothes. Rachel Sun says, all lies from Rosemary. She has never done any... What? Who's Rosemary? What's Rosemary said? Oh, Rosemary says, pushing Harry aside to get in first, to enter the rooms in front of senior royals. Oh, the video. I think they were just being very tactile. Harry, if you watched any of the video clips from Harry and Meghan yesterday at Canada House, Harry and Meghan were both very, very tactile with each other. I don't think anybody was pushing anybody around. They were just being tactile and showing support. Bearing in mind, this is the first time they've been seen together as a couple for 6 weeks or more. It was basically back into the saddle, photographers everywhere, members of the public everywhere, people videoing, cheering. I think all of these little gestures were acts of support between each other. Let's have a look down furthermore. Carolyn says, why don't people boycott these newspapers? I don't know. I mean, you'd have to ask people. But I mean, in terms of the traditional print media, I think a lot of people are now getting their news from online rather than traditional print media. Let's have a look. Laura Terry says, the press are like wolves. They keep up the lies about the royal family members when we know that they are not true. I would say just be very, very cautious, very, very careful about anything that's coming out at this time. We know that from about a year now, there has been just speculation. Some of it has some truth in there somewhere, but most of it, Harry himself said in the African Journey, the vast majority of stuff is not true. It's entirely made up. And I think the whole thing about moving to Canada, moving anywhere, is just complete speculation. The palace itself has said that they are not going to comment on speculation. So yes, they've come back basically off a really enjoyable, relaxing holiday, and people have gone into overdrive. And it doesn't help when people in the media make comments that could get stretched, which I think is what's happened with Tom. I don't think Tom has set out to cause a fracas, and I don't think he set out to burn any bridges with William and Harry and Meghan. But I think what he said has been twisted by the media, and that's why we're getting all of these stories. No, still haven't heard anything else about Prince Andrew. Right, so I am going to go now. Of course, if anything else happens, if anything else turns up, I will come on and do a live pop-up chat. So if you've enjoyed this video, I know it's been talking about a lot of speculation stories, but I think it is always good to just talk through these things and share ideas and kind of point out when things are speculation. So if you've enjoyed this video, please give it a big old thumbs up. Don't forget to share on social media, and also do hit the bell so that you know whenever I upload a new video. Also, please do remember to subscribe to the channel. So from me in Shropshire, mwah, to you all, beware of speculation.